Speaking of parents.
Facts.
Speaking of parents, Nick Cannon, nasty one. We don't put smut on Nick Cannon's name enough, in my opinion. I think he's up there on the nasty individual list. If I put men on there, I don't put men on over there. This is very one-sided over here. No equality.
You don't do
It's
what?
no equality on the nasty individual list. It's women only.
You know what? I respect it. As much as he needs to go over there, I
Listen,
respect
it's women only. That's just how it goes. Hey man. That's the
Mm-mm,
ship that we
mm-mm,
running over
mm-mm.
here. But
Absolutely
but
not.
he was in the he had an interview and he said that he wouldn't want his daughters, he has 5 out of the 12 kids, to date a man like him. I thought that was crazy because one, he went on this tour about justifying what he was doing as far as having kids. He said he felt like he wasn't going to live a long time. He said that, you know, everybody is on the up and up. Everything is okay. He just wants to have a tribe, all that stuff. And then now he's saying he doesn't want his daughters to date niggas like him. Where did that come from? If everything was okay. I was very confused about that. I want to know if y'all seen that and how y'all felt about that.
Well, I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at this Nick Cannon family tree. This is disgusting. I didn't know he has 6 baby moms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
He been using the cannon.
Using the cannon, crazy.
Using the cannon is crazy.
Early
He's
entry.
using the cannon.
Name his face right there. That's crazy. Right there.
Yes, sir.
Early entry for the title of the space. Yeah.
Using the cannon, nasty work. But listen, Nick, I actually kind of fuck with it. He know he ain't shit. Period. You know you ain't shit. You don't want your daughter to have a nigga that ain't shit. Good. Yeah, exactly. Don't date a man like your father, girl. Absolutely. And he should be telling you, stay far away from a man like me that got 6 women pregnant and got 12 kids and you one of them. Absolutely.
I ain't gonna
avoid
lie.
me.
Is this too little too late?
I ain't gonna lie, Janae. That sounds like a cop out. It's a cop out to being a better man.
Yes.
He didn't already had the children.
But what
you say? What
he
you
already
say?
had the kids.
He's already had the children. It's done.
Yeah, you could still be a better man today.
You still ain't shit.
But I think to Tim's point, that's how I took it. And where he is avoiding responsibility of being a better man today, and he's accepting kind of who he is, but also at the same time saying, I don't want my daughters to date me, a current me.
No.
And so that's the weird
Right,
thing.
and
I think it's a difference.
that's also like
If your daughter brought a reformed man, even though he had 10 kids and he said, I'm reformed and I'm changed, you wouldn't give a damn about his reformity.
Exactly.
What?
You would not care about that.
No,
Wait,
you
hold
wouldn't.
on,
You would
wait.
be,
No,
you
no,
would be
say
giving
that.
at your daughter like
Say
she
it one
crazy.
more
No, you
time.
didn't get
Father
what
would.
she said. You wouldn't care about
No.
the reformed aspect. You wouldn't want your daughter to date a nigga that got 10
At
kids.
all.
Exactly. At all. And let's not
Right.
forget, Nick got 2 pending.
Wow, you
But
act like it's like a email being sent or
Let's
something.
be very clear. He has 2 he got 2 in the
Got in the
draft.
queue?
I guess I can. Yeah, that's crazy. Not two in the drafts. I guess I can take because of how my dad approached my sisters, right? Like my dad's not a bad man by any means, but he was like he told my sisters like I want you to go marry somebody better than me, right? Like I'll shoot for the stars, right? Like shoot for the moon, land among the stars, right? Like don't shoot for a man like me, shoot for somebody better than me. So I think most fathers would say that, right? Like, it's I want you to do something better, right? I want you to do greater, right? Now in this case, of course, it's Nick Cannon, so we look at what he's already done and say like it ain't the bar ain't set ain't set too high, right? But I don't disparage him for saying like I want my daughters to marry somebody or be with somebody who's better than I am. Where I think that's also a lot of self-reflection and understanding, like the Johnny said, I ain't shit, like, right? But I don't think this is a bad thing for him. I think this is the self-awareness that people say they want from men, right?
I think that works if you're trying to be somebody different. I think it doesn't work if you are just stuck in that because your words don't mean nothing, right? Especially to kids when they're young. We see what our parents do and their actions and their patterns and their behaviors mold us, right? When we think about relationships and we hear, women saying, I'm looking for somebody like my dad. It wasn't necessarily about what dad was saying, right? It was about what dad was doing and how he was handling himself and how he handled himself in the household and how he treated mom and did he get up and go to work? Did he provide, like, we're looking at actions, men too. When we, I want somebody to cook like my mom or cook like my grandma, clean up the house. Like, we're looking at actions. So him saying these words is beautiful, beautiful words. But at the end of the day, what are you doing? And if you're not doing anything, then it doesn't really matter. So that's why for me, I'm saying, is this a level of too little too late? Because your kids have been on this earth however long at this point, and they're seeing dad. And they're seeing
Well,
that
is
dad
it?
has 6 baby mamas and 12 kids and how he felt like it was a good thing. And he's still out here doing this. And so, yeah, that's cool, but we see you. And so now
Well,
you're
Rashad,
preaching
like,
this message after the fact, and it seems hollow and empty.
well, Rashad, my question is he dead?
No.
Okay, so he still has time. Like, so he still has a chance to correct his action. Right, you know what I
Oh,
mean? Like, that's how I
look,
look at it. That's how I
please.
look at it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you still got a chance to correct your actions. Like, you could say it. I think part of the problem is a lot of niggas will try to justify their bullshit rather than identifying the problem. Right? I think this is a way of him saying, like, I know that what I'm doing is an issue. Now, like you said, is he gonna do the work? That's yet to be seen. Like you said, he got 2 babies on the way. So, but like, I think him identifying that, hey,
Nick Cannon
I ain't
is
shit.
justifying his bullshit for
Yeah,
you.
That's a
identifying
way
an
to look
issue
at it.
means nothing if you don't do nothing about it, right? It just says that I see it, right? I can see that my car need gas. If I don't go to the gas station, what does it mean, right? And so I think that is where he is at, because he's still very active in the media and talks about relationships and stuff like that. You don't hear Nick Cannon speaking against those things that he was doing regularly. Actually, it was kind of like preaching, like, this is what we should do. He goes, I think he was one of those ones that went down the spiel of, men ain't supposed to be with one woman. We kings and from Africa. And like, he was one of them
He
niggas.
was. He
And
was.
so, like, he's not speaking out of it against it. He's leaning into it.
True, true.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Nick Cannon a bullshit father. And it's time we wake it up. Because what he's doing, what he's pretty much saying is, I'm gonna tell my children what to do, and they shouldn't look at what I do. And any parent knows 50% of all parenting is your own actions. Kids see you doing stuff.
Do as I say, not as I do.
So you trying to just know, I'm gonna tell my daughter to stay away from these men is not enough. She gonna find somebody that act just like her
Guaranteed.
daddy.
All 5 of them young women.
That's
Y'all,
cap. I don't
y'all,
disagree. My daddy had 28 kids. I got 0. They may be the total opposite of what
Hold
his
on, hold,
fucking
wait, wait, wait,
father
wait,
what
wait,
his
DB,
wait.
you
father
out here
is.
DB.
fucking a whole
Hold,
bunch
hold
of
on, wait,
At the
hoes
wait,
same
DB.
point,
today.
That is that.
I got no
So
kids.
you ever heard?
That's not what we talking
We're
about.
judged by we're
Hold
judged
on.
by our outcomes as men. Now y'all want to change definitions
No,
on how
what
we judge? Cool,
DB?
What,
you can
DB?
do
That's
that.
not even what we talking about. The points you've been making
I'm
today
just
don't
speaking. I'm
correlate.
speaking about my point of what you flipping the script on what you addressed. You said I fuck hoes, yes, but we're judged as
DB,
men
what
off
I'm
our
saying,
outcomes in life.
Right.
there's a
So
story.
the same
There's a
thing.
Thank you,
there's a
TC.
story,
100.
DB, of
This,
of 2 brothers, right? The dad was an alcoholic, and one brother said, "I don't drink
For sure.
because my dad was an alcoholic." The other brother said, "I do drink because my dad's an
Alcohol, yeah,
alcoholic."
it makes sense.
You seen your dad's actions, and based on your dad's actions, your life is still molded by your father. Whether you followed in his footsteps or not, you seen what he
Cool.
did, and you didn't want to be a part of that, right? And so with these kids, either you can
For sure.
do it or you don't do it as far as following those footsteps, but your actions is still molded by your parents' actions. And so it's a toss up right now, because I'm pretty sure his kids are very young. The 5 girls, right? It's a
Right.
toss up of which road that they're going to go down, but to leave that to chance, right? When you keep exposing them to this, adverse lifestyle that you wouldn't even want them to be a part of, why do you keep exposing them to that? That's what I'm saying.
But we will see the outcome at the end of the day. That's like Nessa, who was in a child star on network television.
You breaking up, DB.
You know, not only that,
You breaking up, DB. Go ahead, Grandma. Grandma. Yeah, I thought he had his hand up.
My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. Yeah. So I was gonna say, so I believe Nick is mostly talking from hindsight. Like he's seen what he's done with the success he's had and the women he's been around and all his, individual proximity to everything as it relates to his children. And he's come to the end conclusion of like, hey, I did all this and I don't need these bullshit parts of me reflective in the men that my daughters date. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I believe he's coming from. I could definitely see it being a bit of a cop out to a certain degree, but I think it's just a level of hindsight and, well, I say 1% accountability. 1%. Cause that nigga definitely do got 2 in the draft for real. Like for real, for real. So he's still not really changing too much of his actions. So while he's still recognizing these parts of himself and super fucking transparent for the world to see, it's like, yeah, I am how I am, but I don't need my daughters being with a man like me because I understand what comes with this. And I don't need them to be put through what their mothers are essentially put through. So right now, as I can, at least try to save them from certain like mistakes. Hey, don't date nobody like me. Date a man more unique to what you like and what you love and what you find interesting in. Don't use me as the mold. Yeah, you can use pieces of me like my drive, my love for success and, creativity and all these things, but not the real parts of me that you know. That's what I believe he's saying. Yes.
Hold on, wait,
Wait,
10, because I got a question after this, but let Kyra go. Go ahead, Kyra.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just real quick. So who is he giving this advice to? Because only one of his daughters is old enough to date.
No, he's
Like
saying
the rest of
eventually.
his,
He's saying eventually.
oh, okay. Cause I thought you were saying like now. Cause I'm like only one of his daughters are old enough to date. And on top of that, when you have stopped making this bad decision after like the maybe 5th child, maybe, or the 6th child, like you have 12 kids. Yes, cue up JoJo. It's too little too late. Cue it up. You like
That's my shit.
we have to stop doing this with him. Like people keep giving him a pass because he's Nick Cannon. No, you are old as shit and you still doing the same things at 40 something years old with 12 kids. No, 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 no. It's the same conversation I was having about J-Lo. At some point the accountability should have kicked in real fucking early. It should have kicked in early and I'm with 10. He's just not a good parent. He's just not. Like, sometimes you got, just cause you got money and you can do all of this, that doesn't mean you're a good parent. Like, and your oldest daughter, 9 times out of 10, she's gonna date a man like you. Because she sees it. She's the first one to see everything that you're doing. So, good luck with that one, buddy.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much a guarantee. I'm not gonna hold you, but I did have a question because
Well, with the oldest daughter?
with all of them at one point in
Oh,
their life,
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's pretty much a guarantee, especially if he's not in the house, to be able to see that, because now you're leaving it up to chance that the mama gonna find a good example for them to see, and that's too much chance for me. I think it's
Right.
pretty much a guarantee that their daughters are
But,
gonna
but
go down
another
that
thing,
route.
but another thing is Rashad too, his oldest daughter is by Mariah Carey. Do you think she's not going to put some type of positive thing in her life for her to see that? But also kids are going to see their parent how the way they want to see their parent. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to speak for Mariah Carey, but I don't know if she bashes their father in front of them. I'm like, which I hope she doesn't do that. She just let them see him for who he is. But again, what your kids see you do, 9 times out of 10, they're going to emulate that because you are their idol. You're their first idol. Like, girls love their fathers. They want a man who's like their dad. Like, that's just literally how it goes. But again, it's too little too late for him.
So I wanted to ask Grandma, because you did say something
Yeah.
interesting. Do you think that you can be a bad example but still give that good advice? Do as I say and not as I do. Do you think that that's possible, especially with kids growing up today? Because I don't think it is. I think that's pie in the sky.
So now I definitely don't disagree with that pie in the sky analogy. Like now again, coming from a big ass family, like I said, like fourth oldest of 9, like you see a lot of different experiences and I can just say my parents were good in a lot of areas, bad in a lot of areas. And it's like for me, even with like my cousins having even bigger families, it's like seeing these foregone set examples in front of them, especially like the people that was like heavy in the street or heavy in some other shit. It's just like, hey, don't do this because it's going to lead you down these roads and still try to set a decent example while getting, at least slowly working their way away from the bullshit that they were so heavily immersed in. I believe you can be that person again it's like there's a lot of hindsight that have to be involved and a lot of self-awareness that have to be involved. Like if you just saying some shit and you still just doing it without a genuine care and intention of change, then no, hell no. You just producing the same mistake, but you just ain't seeing it yet. But if you see the mistake that you're making in real time on some flip shit and just really, really proactively change in front of your children and have different set examples while, like I said, working away from the bullshit to be a better person, then you can make that change and be a better role model for your children and have those role models. Even if it's not
You
you,
cut off,
then you can
Grandma?
point your children to other. Oh shit. Hold on. Wait.
No, you good. You
Can
good.
you
Go
hear me
ahead.
now? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Just having those specific kinds of like, I say intentional boundaries or intentional sets of foundation set from how you approach it, how you lay that example physically, verbally, and just visual, like whatever visual aspect that you can set for your kids to have to really get what you doing and what you're saying. I believe whatever you did prior, especially in their younger years, it won't have too much of an effect later on down the line because now you've grown from that. Like I said, hindsight. That hindsight creates so much it creates such a grander source of awareness that who you was before, it damn near get erased
I
almost,
feel like
unless you heavily
I feel like
repeat it.
me specifically gave Tiffany Haddish a lot of
Yeah,
pushback yesterday in saying that she wants kids or a baby and
right.
not necessarily wanting to raise a child. And I think it's fair to say that about Nick. I think Nick
Oh,
wants
absolutely,
kids,
yeah,
he wants a baby, he wants to
yeah.
have
They
his
want the family
lineage
aesthetic.
and all of that stuff that he said, and not necessarily raising these
Yeah,
children. And so
they,
I think even with what he said, right, no matter the
yeah,
intentions, I think that it doesn't come from people who are intentional and dedicated to raising children. In my opinion,
yeah,
do as I do
yeah, no,
and do as I say and not as I do doesn't come from a
yeah,
place of being intentional with your children and being aware. I
yeah,
think it is kind of lazy, like Tin said, in just avoiding
yeah,
accountability, because if there is a contradiction in your actions, in your words, the parent that is
yeah,
intentional in showing their child, quote unquote, the right way or the right way as they perceive,
yeah,
that parent would be making sure that those that message lines up.
yeah. So you know what? I know before you move on, I definitely want to say because I should have like spoke more to that quote because yeah, my parents, hell, my mom specifically, and a lot of my aunts would use that fucking quote. They would always say, "Do as I say, not as I do." Now, granted, I never really liked that quote personally because yeah, I do see the hypocrisy in it, but I guess trying to look at it more objectively, and maybe I am extending a little bit too much grace in it, but it's like somebody like Nick, because again, I've always fucked with Nick Cannon from when I was younger. You know, seeing his movie, seeing Wild 'N Out, all that shit. But seeing this nigga just as a rich nigga, he did give me the makings of somebody that loved the aesthetic of responsibility, but just not really applicable and applying themselves to be a responsible person outside of business. Like they like the family aesthetic, just not involved with the family.
Yeah, because
You get what I
even
mean?
even with the situation with Mariah Carey, I think he came out and said that he basically was playing second fiddle. He didn't like being in the background. It was a
Right.
lot of I don't know, it was a lot of
Ego.
weirdness, even in that
Yeah.
situation, and where it's just like, the I don't know. Nick Cannon, he doesn't seem like the most responsible person.
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
having
it's
like
a,
all of these women,
yeah.
I think that when we do talk about broken homes, right? This is why when the money aspect comes up, when Kenya was talking about money yesterday and, raising a child and they can go to the best schools and they can have food and they can do that. That is all good, right? But the aspect of having, parents in the house and seeing examples and having that emotional connection, right? And where we just said, it might be too much emotional connection with Jaden and his mama, right?
Right.
But we see that was there. Like we see that their
Yeah. Yeah.
relationship was built on something outside of what money can
Yes.
buy. And I think in this
Yeah, yeah.
situation, it is, the money is here, and so the kids are straight and they're going to school and they can do this and they have the clothes and stuff like that. So, okay, I'm good. I'm a good dad. And it's like, no,
Yeah,
you're not.
yeah.
In my opinion, that this is the antithesis of the, broken homes narratives that we have, and where
Oh,
somebody is
absolutely. Yeah.
intentional with not ever being with the woman, and just like the selfish aspect of, I just want my lineage to go on, not caring about the children, not caring about the woman. That is something that I don't like.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead, Paris. What's the word?
I told y'all niggas, y'all think
I
y'all daughter
told y'all this.
special? I told y'all niggas, you think your daughter's special? She gotta run into this shit. So you better be careful what you praise and what you support. Cause we living it every single day. Y'all can talk that hot shit about how a nigga got money. He should be able to do this. He should be able to do that because it benefits you, but the children suffer. And that's what the whole communication be in the first place. The children suffer because you want to do what you want to do because you want to make some bread, nigga. That ain't how family work. You gotta lock in. You gotta check in. You gotta be there. If you ain't there, that money gonna raise them, and you figure out what that look like.
Yeah, and I'm never the proponent of just like money. You can be rich as hell, Jeff Bezos, or you can be broke as hell on the street. I think that money plays an aspect in the quality of life, but when we're talking about raising children, I think that it yes, it helps, but it's not as important as people want to make it seem. So when we have these conversations, we just had the J-Lo conversation. It was like, DB brought up the money. Well, they bought part of the Dolphins, and it's like, okay, but their marriage was shit, right? And when we talk about kids, oh, well, they go to the best school in the county. Okay, but they feel alone, and daddy ain't never around to see, little milestones that the kids care about, right? And so when people keep having those conversations, but then we are seeing the adverse effects of these rich kids lashing out and not having that connection, or not feeling appreciated, not feeling wanted. We always talk about, the white kids, the Menendez brothers, right? In whatever you can take from that, they had everything, right? They had the college education. They were rich, and we seen how that turned out. So it's more than just money. It's more than just a dollar. And I think that him thinking that money can smooth everything over, it's gonna be a rude awakening when them young girls grow up. Really, it's gonna be a rude
I
awakening when
don't
them
think
young
he
girls
thought
growing up.
money could smooth things over. I really think he kind of had the Kamala effect. This is my personal opinion. This might not be right, right? But once he realized he wasn't able to provide a woman what he needed based off of his own upbringing and shit like that. Like him and Mariah Carey come from two different fucking worlds. He got the girl, and she wasn't really fucked up about nothing in the world except for, hey, I just need somebody to be here to comfort me. And that made him feel displaced. So he started using women as an outlet to do what the fuck he wanted to do. And so it's like when you have men who promote, oh, my money can afford me to do whatever, it's like you don't realize how your actions affect everybody else. And that be the principle. You are a man with a whole lot of resources and leverage and knowledge and X, Y, and Z. You're creating legacies, but everything you do is a trickle down effect of what will happen to your children.
Everything. And then that's why I said it's kind of like I feel like it's a money to smooth it over, because if he figured out those deficiencies, right? Because one, I think that there is room for growth, right? I think he is a person who doesn't want to put their pride to the side. When we talk about a level of hyper masculinity, I think that is one of those situations in where, hey fam, listen, your woman is Mariah Carey, nigga.
I don't think it
Not
was
too
hyper
many people.
masculinity though. I get what you're saying, but
It's a lot of ego,
it
it's a
was a
lot of
lot of
pride, and,
ego.
and it's a lot of I'm the man, and this is my woman, and my woman is supposed to be having
No,
a
no,
level of
I get what you're
femininity, or
saying.
catering
The,
to me in my
I don't
masculinity.
I don't think that though. And I said I don't, and I'm saying that because when I said they come from two different worlds, right? Like Mariah Carey's first husband basically had her up in a big ass mansion, and it was just like the worlds amongst worlds. So when he ran into her, the money she had already had, she was kind of on her Kim Kardashian shit, like all I need is affection, all I need is a real companion, all I need is love. This nigga came from a single parent and his grandma raised him. He never even fucking knew his daddy for real. So it's like, when he reached that elevated status of saying, you know what, I done tried to be in love before. I done tried to do this before. And I don't struggle no more. His mentality was just never there. And even now, he still give Mariah Carey kids priority over all these other babies he done had. So it's like, when you sit back and you look at it's damaging because it's more so internal. The shit that Nick Cannon do ain't got shit to do with nobody else but Nick Cannon. And until he addressed that and stop misguiding his energy off of his relationships, it ain't never gonna change.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because when you get into a space, and this is why I say it's hyper masculine in my opinion, when you get into a space of, you know exactly who the fuck Mariah Carey is, that's the reason why you went for her. You went for the boss. You went for the amazing singer. You went for the woman that's quote unquote up and got money. Like, that's what you went for. And then when you got to that space, it seems like from the things that he said that he wanted her to kind of turn that down to stroke his ego and make him feel good about himself. And these issues are 100% him and how he feels about himself. And so when he didn't get that, he kind of threw a temper tantrum
No, you're not wrong.
and
That's exactly what he
self-sabotage.
did. He threw a temper tantrum, and he eventually was the reason why his marriage corroded. You're right. He absolutely threw a temper tantrum.
And then
Would y'all
now
say?
projecting that onto other relationships, and where it is more of a, nah, I ain't about to
I don't
be
think
under
it
no
started
bitch.
with
They gonna get on
Mariah
my
though.
program.
Like I mean, even with him and Christina Milian, like that motherfucker was dating what's her name, Naomi Campbell at one point. Like, he was dating so many high profile women. He was just married to Mariah. So everybody always associated him with that grandiose shit, because when they got married, she was still at high point in her celebrity, right? He got the stupid ass tattoo, and then they had a huge age gap. She's older than him. So all of those three caveats were very significant to why their relationship was so pivotal. But even if you look at his relationship history, it's like there was never going to be one woman who could actually satiate him for real. Now, it was never going to be one woman. All the women he ever had, that nigga got a lineup better than Drake's.
But tying it back to the topic, if that is the case, right, then giving out this empty kind of monologue of, I don't want my daughters to date somebody like me, but not doing that internal work, it's very hollow, right? And so all they're going to see is your lineup, right? The internet don't delete. I was watching Offset on Joe Budden podcast today, and they were like, do you realize that the internet doesn't delete and your kids are going to see these things? And he was like, yeah. He was like, my lyrics are going to impact them when they grow older. And a lot of things are going to impact them. Nick, in his actions and his thought process and how he justified all of these things, you can go tell them kids anything you want to tell them. But we see you for who you are, because this is what you were standing in and you were doubling down
Well, I'm gonna
on.
be honest
And
with you.
so
I don't think we care about that, because if you watch with Diddy kids, I mean, from Quincy all the way down to the baby love, majority of the time they grew up in that. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, I get where you're coming from, but when, like, Offset and Cardi, I think that's a different situation as opposed to Nick. And I only feel that way because of the dynamic in general, right? Like it was an agreement for them. So they have to see that. They have to understand that their entire upbringing was not even traditional to begin with.
yeah, you say that a lot. I hear that. Even still, right? No matter what the factors were as far as their relationship, they brought life into this world, right? And in bringing life into this world, their dynamic matters. I think it would matter to the children.
No,
I think
no,
if
it
we
really
all,
don't. I'm gonna tell you why. Do you
I think
got?
we all would
Do
like to
you?
see our
I'm
parents'
I'm gonna ask you
interactions.
this, Rashad. Do you have outside siblings?
I have a sister.
Is she an
Yes.
outside sibling though?
Yes, she's my dad's
Okay,
daughter.
so your experience with your dad is always different than her experience by default. And even now with your children, your children specifically have a very different dynamic than the average child who are their peers, solely because of their upbringing. They live in a house. You are the primary caretaker, right? So it's a thing of where when children start to see that their actual lifestyle isn't as common, or it's not the most resourceful lifestyle around them, they don't typically take to those sensitivities like Offset and Cardi's kids would. Because I come from a two-parent household, all this shit is sensitive to me. But for Ten Toes, it's not. He had a stepdad, and like it was just a different dynamic. So it's like a lot of the way that he was brought up versus the way that I was brought up or Cortland was brought up, it's not gonna be the same way we look at it. And you can tell in how we have these conversations because we're critical, and your ass is always just like, man, shit happens. Pop open the 40.
Where the 40 at? Wake it up. Need another.
Yeah,
Need
that picture
another.
was insane. I was like, is this nigga got
That wasn't
got
AI?
Nah,
Wild
man, that was a
Turkey
music video.
turned up
Y'all go check
today?
out the music. Wake it up.
What?
Go ahead, Ted.
I just want to say this before, because I know we finna switch. If you see your daddy be a Rolling Stone, don't be surprised when you start throwing rocks. Okay?
That's all that
All right.
is. That's the real reality.
Hey,
Motherfuckers following their daddy
somebody write that
footsteps.
down. That shit
Like,
sounded
that's
crazy.
exactly what happened. That's why I'm saying, like, we talk about how, the kids are gonna see this, it's gonna affect them. But it's like, if a motherfucking child grew up in a house with their mama being a hoe, do you think hoes is uncommon to them? Do you think crackheads is uncommon? If a motherfucking kid grew up in the house seeing their daddy eat money off of drugs, do you think their perception of how drug dealing is gonna be the same as yours, your regular standard ass household that both of your parents go to work? It's not going to be the same. So all this hypersensitivity of, well, what are people going to say about them? Shit, the same thing they've been saying, because before they made it to the internet, they had a community they had to speak with.
Hey, listen, I tried to say that yesterday. I said I was crazy when we was talking about the kids growing up in environments.
No,
Listen,
that was
man.
not the same thing. You're not going to convolute this. That is not the same thing. I'm simply saying your normalcy is not going to be the same as somebody else's normalcy. Not whether or not it's okay. Because these things are subjective, right? Nick Cannon has an agreeable polygamous situation. Every single woman that he dealt with after Mariah, he had a contract. They were once his employees. He had an informal relationship with them women, and they agreed to what's happening with him. That is not a common situation like Offset, who all of his kids before Cardi was just some bitches he was fucking and he made a baby. That's not the same thing. So off rip, his children already have a different understanding of relationships than Offset and Cardi kids, because they seen their dad be committed at some point. They hit Nick Cannon's children. The only ones that ever seen him committed was the oldest two. Everybody else got a different version of their father.
Yeah, I do think that there is a level, like, for me, I would think that I would want to see um the interactions of my parents, especially in their heyday, right? The internet. I think that when these kids get older, it's partly why, I keep my stuff on YouTube, right? I want my kids to be able to see, me and how I thought and how I looked and all that stuff. I think that that's going to be important to their kids. They're going to look up old interviews. They're going to look up old headlines and tabloids and stuff like that. And so that's why I'm saying, whether you feel like they're going to be affected by it or not, it's no question that they're going
No,
to
I'm
see
not
these
saying that
things.
they're not going to be affected. Rest assured, they're always affected. I'm saying the hypersensitivity to it isn't the way that we perceive it to be. Their reality was already their reality before we got to have a discussion about it. Kenya's Muslim. The shit Kenya does on a regular basis, the discipline that she may have to the average person who was never exposed to any type of religion, is going to be very different. So a lot of the things when we hear Kenya speak, it comes off abrasive. It comes off like really dramatic and overly sensitive, because that's how she was raised. That is her mindset. You can't change that. So the way that you're like, oh, this shit is going to hit the internet. Well, it was already in that household before it ever hit the internet.
Yeah, I get
I
that.
mean, true, but oh my god.
No, I'm not lying. I'm not disparaging you. I'm just saying you do come off hypersensitive to us for various reasons. Like, I know I'm not tripping when I say that. Like, DB, I couldn't believe his daddy actually was a fucking in the military at all, because the way that he thinks and he articulates himself, it doesn't sound that way.
DB missed a lot of whoopings. I ain't gonna lie.
No, DB